Lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
T. Madden & Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden & Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No! 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney+, Hulu, ESPN+, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment!
Because everyone deserves better.
And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper.
Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
At CD.
Good morning to everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here exclusively on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown, joined by Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network and Ossie Clark of the Grambling State Radio Network. Here's the guest menu for today's show. Of course, Charles Edmond, Ossie Clark starts us off. Larry Harrell will join me in hour number 2, former Southern University football player, now coaching in the state of Georgia. And then we'll also have Willa Brown, former director of athletics at Jackson State, now interim athletic director at Fort Valley State. So we've got a lot to talk about. A lot of things happening since the last time we talked, which was last Saturday. So let me do this. First and foremost, I want to talk about the tragic accident off of Interstate 49 in North Louisiana. 3 Southern University students and also members of the Human Jukebox, Broderick Moore, 19 of Cedar Hills, Texas, Tyron Williams, 19 of Dallas, Texas, and Dylan Young, 21. They lost their lives in a tragic, just a truly just unbelievable accident. And they're going to have a tribute honoring these 3 fine young men. Location Isaac Gray Band Hall tomorrow at 4 p.m. Our thoughts and prayers go to their families. They were traveling home at the end of the semester. Also, the Southern University Human Jukebox family and the Southern University family. Guys, it's kind of heartfelt. These things, they happen, but it's just an incredible sad time. And three young men, and a lot to live for, young, and this happened. So our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved, their families. Again, Southern University, the band members. Um, Life goes on, but just tough. If you have any comments, you can do so right now. Ossie, I'm sure that these things happen, and I don't think you ever get accustomed or used to these type of things that happen.
Don't get accustomed at all. And the sad but honest truth is how tragic it is for these young men to be traveling back home just to enjoy family, to enjoy the Christmas holiday, to kind of relax from everything that their minds, their bodies, their souls have gone through this year at school. And for a trucker, a driver of a truck, an 18 wheeler, to just come by and swipe them and take their lives while they're trying to change a tire. It's just absolutely one of the worst things that possibly experience as a parent. And I know that having a daughter who's in high school right now, who drives to school to Warren Eastern High School in New Orleans, Louisiana, my heart every day just goes pitter pat, because you just don't know what's going to happen. The only thing that you can do is pray and cover your children, and ask God to give them the grace to be able to make it back and forth, home to their from their destinations to home. And in this situation, because of the folly of one individual, someone who was either tired behind the wheel or just not paying attention, three innocent young men who had so much to live for, they are gone. And I know it's sad that they are gone, and our thoughts, our prayers, our hearts are family who have these young men. And I know this is an old saying in the church, but it is a very true statement, and it will take time. But earth truly has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal.
Well said, Ossie. Charles?
Yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with Southern University, the Southern University family, and especially the families of those three individuals. Those were three sons. Those are three sons of someone, and that's the tragic part about it. Just going about their daily lives and trying to get home, and it's just unfortunate. And for me personally, just my thoughts and prayers are with Southern University and the Southern University family. So tragic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, boy. Well, also, what's trending here on today's show? Once again, we got several topics to discuss, and I just want to hear, get your guys' perspective on it. But congratulations to Jackson State University, their football team. They're the 2022 SWAC football champions, 43-24 over Southern University. Still a perfect record. Now on to the Celebration Bowl against North Carolina Central. And if we kind of look at this ball game, um, my notes here: 3 turnovers in the first quarter, literally doomed Southern University. Bubba McDaniels had tremendous success, and the talk has already started. Wow, this Bubba McDaniels should have been the starter, the number one quarterback all year. But over 160 yards rushing, threw for over 200. That was the first time that Jack State has given up over 400 yards and in the football season. And now Bubba McDaniels, his eligibility is up. He's gone.
Mm.
But that truly was a interesting football game, because we kind of talked about it last week. Would Coach Dooley have a quick hook? I said if I was the coach, I would, but of course I'm not the coach. He comes in, and offensively they get things going. They outscored Jackson State 24-17 after he entered the football game. So what if, coulda, woulda, shoulda, guys? Now let the second guessing. It's already have begun. Um, it is going to be a interesting off season for Southern University, guys?
Well, let me start out first because I made a bunch of predictions on your show 7 days ago, Carlos, and I'm raising my hand and I'm saying how wrong I was and how
I didn't
right
want to bring
you.
that up.
Well, I mean, hey, call it what it is. When you're wrong, you got to admit that you're wrong. How wrong I was on all fronts. I honestly thought that Jackson would be a little bit off their spot. I think Southern helped them a little bit, obviously, by spot. You just can't spot Jackson that many points early on. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about the end result, and I was wrong about the quarterback situation. Clearly, Southern's QB didn't have it, and Coach Dooley rolled the dice, and it paid off most of the game. But early in the game is where the game was lost. So congratulations, Jackson State. I think if you're Southern University, if you're Eric Dooley, you're back to square one at the quarterback position. You look at McRae, is he your long-term answer? I think that's got to be looked at and evaluated because clearly in the biggest game, he faltered. So now, as you said, Bubba McDaniel is gone. And where are you going to go from here on the quarterback position? If you don't have a manageable and a serviceable quarterback, you have no chance. And so I think Southern's back to square one. There's got to be a lot of evaluation of that position as well as other positions. And even for Eric Dooley, I read a comment that maybe Eric Dooley should step back from calling plays, hire an OC, and let him manage the game. I don't know if he's going to do that or not, but there's got to be a lot of questions about how Southern rolls forward because this race is wide open now. Jackson State, they're going to have a whole new setup. The Braves are coming. You don't know what's going to happen at Pine Bluff. Prairie View smarting a little bit. Who's going to be the quarterback at Grambling? Ossie can answer that. Is it Calvez or is he going to have 6 more quarterbacks in camp next year? I don't know. But this is an opportunity for Southern to figure things out because right now there's a lot of uncertainty in this league right now in a lot of different positions, a lot of different coaches, a lot of different quarterbacks, a lot of different programs. So we'll see where Southern goes from here, but a lot of questions for Eric Dooley to answer.
Tip your hat to the Southern University. Tip your hats to the Jaguars as well as to Jackson State University for being able to be the 2 teams that are in the Southwestern Athletic Conference Championship game at the end of the year. And Jackson State has done what they've been able to do all year long, which is win football games, find ways to win football games. And they usually do it because they find ways to put teams away so early and make it so difficult for you to come from behind in these football games. And Southern didn't help themselves at all in this football game at all, gentlemen, early in the game. And for Coach Dooley to have to roll the dice and make that change that was necessary in this football game, he had to do what he had to do to give himself a chance at the end to win the football contest. And there's always going to be a lot of conjecture about what should have happened, who could have started, why this person should have been the starting quarterback. The reality is this: that is never the decisions of any person's, not ours, not fans, not anybody. That's the decision of the coach who sits there every single day and makes that decision, who watches these young men in practice and understands who's going to give me the best opportunity to win in this situation. And when you roll the dice and you think it's the guy that you start with, you just go with it and say, hey, whatever happens at this point absolutely happens. If it doesn't go well, I always have a backup plan. And the backup plan was McDowell, who did a very great job of helping these young men to fight throughout the course of that football game, but just too many points to come back from. Is Coach Dooley going to take a step back from calling plays next year? I absolutely doubt it, because that's just not who he is. He wants to be in control of the offensive unit that he's calling. And so I don't blame him from that standpoint if he doesn't feel comfortable putting that into the hands of somebody else. If the blame is going to fall back on anybody, it might as well fall back on me if I'm the offensive coordinator and also the head coach. I was having this conversation with a guy that I work with at Holy Savior Menard in Alexandria, Louisiana. He's a football coach, and we were talking about the SWAC as a whole, and we were talking about, well, who's going to be the team? And I still believe for the next couple of years it's going to be the Jackson State Tigers, but he said that he thought Southern would be that team. I said, Southern will be that team if they can find somebody who can control the offensive side of the football at quarterback. Because once they have that guy that can be in control of what happens on the offensive end, now the Jaguars are a very dangerous football team. And Charles, I think you were right. They're right back at square one right now, trying to find that person who can lead the offensive unit for Southern University. So it's still going to be a long process for the Jaguars at this point. Maybe Coach Dooley has something in his bag of tricks to pull somebody out that we don't know anything about at this point. But when you just look at things, I just think right now the Jaguars are in that position where they have to find somebody who can lead this group.
That is very interesting because I was having a discussion, and of course, I agree. I don't believe, I'm pretty 120% sure that the offensive coordinator will be the same as last year, Coach Eric Dooley. If I'm wrong, I'll come back and say I was wrong, but no, he's going to have both jobs as usual. Now, the spring season comes up, and it's going to be very important. And I know some people are saying, well, you know, what are they going to do at quarterback? I think all positions should be open when you go into the spring. Returning starters, they'll have to earn it. You have to always earn it. And now, Ossie, you can talk about a guy who transferred to Southern University. I talked to his coach from high school a couple of weeks ago, Bruce Eugene, and Noah Bowden. And all I'm doing is offering an opinion. Of course, you're absolutely right. The coach is there every practice. He makes the decision. He has to live with it. I can only just offer my opinion. But looking the part, I guess I'll put it this way. I'm so intrigued about Noah Bowden, about 6'4", 215. But we'll see in the spring. That will be very important to see who will win the quarterback competition. But your thoughts on Noah Bowden? Coach Bruce Eugene said basically give him a spring and he believes that he will really be in a position to win that job.
Actually, I absolutely agree with Coach Bruce Eugene. I thought that Noah Bowden was going to be the quarterback of the future for the Grambling Tigers, and everybody was expecting him in a freshman campaign, a freshman year, to be able to do things that most seniors or upperclassmen were able to do. Here's a guy that can actually throw the football, and he makes good decisions with the football. The problem at Grambling at the time was he did not have a great offensive line in front of him, nor did he have great playmakers that could just stretch the field or make plays from the receiving category. So it really put him in a bind overall. But he's a young man that I really thought that if he would have had another year and had things been different at Grambling where he could settle into the system a little bit better, I thought he was going to be the quarterback of the future for the Grambling Tigers. Now, he's not that great dual threat quarterback, so he's not really going to be that guy that you're going to look to see him run out of the pocket a whole lot. He's going to be that guy. He's going to make the reads that are necessary to keep his team successful, move the chains down the field. If he has the ability and the opportunity to play this spring, I think he's going to be able to win over the coaching staff at Southern University and have an opportunity to lead the Jaguars. And what greater opportunity for him is if he can keep that position to have an opportunity to show everybody at Grambling what type of player he would have been for the Grambling Tigers.
Charles Edmond, I was having a discussion with my best friend, and we've talked about, let me get your perspective on this. We're talking about dual threat quarterbacks. I think we need to refine the definition of a dual quarterback. One being able to do both well, accuracy, being able to throw the football. And I think that's the first priority of a quarterback, to be able to be accurate when throwing, be a leader on the field. Is it time to define a redefine a dual threat quarterback? Because it seems in this league, I think more emphasis is put on the athleticism of that quarterback. But again, the first priority is you got to be accurate. You got to be able to put the ball where it needs to be, and you've got to go through your progressions. And a point that Ossie brought up, and you also have to have that O line in front to help out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the definition of dual threat quarterback, what we're looking at in this conference, if you look at the Felix Harpers, if you look at the Shedeur Sanders, you look at the Skeltons, just going back. I mean, I think if you can do both well, you're even that more dangerous. So I think when you look at a Shedeur Sanders, for example, whether he'll play next week or not, I don't know, but you clearly saw he had some big runs against Southern University, and he was pretty accurate with the football, in my opinion, based on what I've seen from him. I just think for the dual threat quarterback position, if you can manage the game, do both well, and just don't cost your team the game, just don't put it on the ground, just don't make bad decisions. I mean, I think if you do that, then it takes away the question of dual threat quarterback. I think based on what you're seeing with Southern University, especially in the championship game, it does cause you to ask that question. I just think you just have to keep it status quo and just find the right guy to get it done, whether it's Bowden, whether it's McRae or whomever it may be. I mean, Dooley's going to have somebody in his back pocket. I can guarantee you that. He's going to have someone that you didn't expect that could come up that he'll probably look in the portal and try to get, perhaps. But I think the dual threat quarterback definition is fine to me. I don't have an issue with it. If you can do both reasonably well, you're fine. But I think the reason why you brought it up is because you may see one area deficient, another maybe okay. And based on maybe what you saw in McRae, you saw maybe some inconsistencies on both facets of it. So that leads you to kind of redefine how that position looks. But I think the position, as we've seen based on previous quarterbacks in this league that have done well, is fine. Queel Glass, he wasn't a big runner, but he had a big arm. And they were successful to a certain extent. You talk about Noah Johnson, Felix Harper, just looking at Alcorn, Shedeur Sanders, and if you go all the way back. So I think the definition is fine. It's just finding the right quarterback that fits that mold, that's a game manager, that can't cost you the game. Now, Eric Dooley says he wants a quarterback that's going to win the game, not necessarily manage the game. And so I don't know if that's going to get redefined in his encyclopedia or not. We'll see on that. But I'm fine, in my opinion. I'm fine with the definition just based on the quarterbacks we've seen in this league over the last few years.
Yeah, well, once again, I think, guys, you have to do both equally well. And a lot of times you're seeing quarterbacks rely a bit too much on the athleticism. And then as you go up against better and better competition, you're going to have to be able to do both. You can't just rely on one thing. And I think we kind of have seen that. Well, we'll move on. Coach Deion Sanders. Oh, wow. Isn't that big news, right? We kind of talked about it last week. He's moved on. Almost now being a dual threat coach. Coaching the Jackson State, the final game. Going to be at Colorado. And if you've seen it on social media, one thing about Coach Sanders, he's going to take care of himself first as far as the social media aspect. I didn't know that his I guess eldest son was in charge of all of that, and they put out the content. They really do. But he's now going to be at the University of Colorado starting very shortly after the Celebration Bowl. And then we see kind of some things that happen because of that. Also, Coach Dancy is leaving Mississippi Valley State to be on the staff at Colorado as a safety coach. We had kind of heard those rumors. It's now, it has happened. But back to the Coach Sanders situation, we kind of knew it was going to happen. He had, I guess, some choices of where he's going to go. Now that puts, oh wow, that puts the conference. You a third of your coaches, UAPB, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Jackson State. Am I missing somebody? That we're gonna have new coaches.
And
Bethune-Cookman,
then of course Mississippi Valley.
And Valley.
So So it's going to look a little bit different at the 2023 SWAC Football Media Day. But I thank Coach Sanders. I wish him the best in his next adventure. And boy, guys, some of the stuff that's coming out on social media, oh my goodness, it's just unbelievable. That's why I said to just wish him the best. Fingers pointed, and I'll just say this: in my humble opinion, I knew Coach Sanders' ultimate job was to be a head coach on the highest level in collegiate football. And in Jackson State, they got something out of the deal. 2 SWAC football championships in a row, publicity, all of that. I'm gonna leave it at that. All the other stuff coming out about Coach Sanders taking his salary, and then the university saying, well, no, the facility upgrades and all of that they've gotten, they were on the book to get done. And so it's a lot of finger pointing. Just kind of wish Coach Sanders the best and move on. Because you remember, guys, I talked about it, the conference will survive. It will survive. Jackson State football program, Ashley makes the decision to bring in the next coach. If he makes a good hire, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Charles and then Ossie, get your perspective on all this.
Well, congratulations to Coach Sanders, for what he's done. He obviously came to Jackson State, his first press conference. Do you believe? He talked the talk and he walked the walk. Two championships, 2 division titles, 2 trips to the Celebration Bowl, maybe a chance to be the second conference team to win the Celebration Bowl. We'll see in 7 days. We'll see. As far as how he went out, I think, Carlos, to me, and I thought about it this morning, I think we are getting a taste of big-time college football moves on the coaching level. When you talk about FBS programs, coaches that lead programs to take over another program, this is kind of how it works. Now, the bowl game, that's a whole nother story. I mean, a coach can coach that bowl game and then bolt. But this is what you see on the big-time level. You see coaches getting poached from those programs, players transferring out with the transfer portal. I think it hurts us because this doesn't happen very often. Jay Hobson, when he was at Alcorn, he left to go to USM, right? But he didn't leave until right before signing day. Now, for some Alcornites, that was a little bit of different kind of pain because you have your signing day coming up with the assumption that Jay Hobson was going to be the coach, and then he goes to USM. You can't blame him for leaving, because that was kind of his dream job, the timing of it. So I think they say timing is everything. And this is what you see in big time FBS football. When coaches leave to take another job with another team, usually there's collateral damage, whether it's from the players, the coaches, the administration. And I think Jackson State is seeing that now. Whether or not he paid for stuff out of his own pocket and all that other stuff, I'm with you. That I'm not even thinking about that. But just in the timing of it and the way it happened, now, if it was me, I would probably have waited until after Celebration Bowl or after the season was over. And I think that will calm a lot of waters because people say, well, you know what? Congratulations. But there's still a lot of hurt people out there, a lot of hurt Jacksonians, for sure. And this is going to be one of these stories, Carlos, we're going to be talking about not only now, next week, next month, next year, 5 years from now. We're going to be talking about this because the way he came in and the way he's going out and the people he's taking with him on his way out, 4 coaches, according to reports, are going to be joining him. That's going to, provide a whole nother dynamic as far as that program is concerned. He's supposed to be coaching the Celebration Bowl. There's some people feel like he shouldn't be. Those questions will be answered, here shortly. But this is big time FBS football at the FCS SWAC level. Coaches do this, unfortunately. It's nasty. It's ugly. It's not pretty, but it's just the nature of the business when you get a job like this. And, there's only one other example. Like I said, Jay Hobson. I mean, you look at these other coaches that have left programs. They've been terminated, or even Dawson Odoms. Dawson Odoms left to go to Norfolk State, but he was there a number of years. The program was better off when he left than it was when he took it over. Got obviously a better offer. But the timing of that, it got a little bit of talk, a little bit of play, but then Southern was kind of on the downside where the program was. So people said good. Some people said good riddance. Others, have other opinions about it. But I think this is kind of big time football, what we're seeing on the SWAC level. Coaches are going to get this. Deion Sanders, in 3 years, he might be leaving Colorado to go somewhere else. Who knows? But that's the nature of the business. It's the nasty, ugly part of the business. Administrations get affected, ADs get affected, players get affected, assistant coaches get affected. Everybody gets affected with this. And unfortunately, we're seeing this at the SWAC level and at Jackson State. Ashley Robinson has some big shoes to fill, trying to find another coach, whether it's going to be someone on that staff. You hear T.C. Taylor's name mentioned, or will he go with another high-profile coach, a high-profile name? There are names out there. So it's not liked by a lot of people, but this is just a nasty, unfortunate, and the reality of the college football business that we're looking at. The big-time part of it, we're just experiencing it here on the SWAC level.
Ossie, if you were director of athletics, here's a question, putting you on the spot a little bit. Does Coach Sanders coach in that Celebration Bowl, or do you thank him for what all he's done and get your start at your next job?
If I'm the director of athletics at a school and Coach Sanders is the head coach, I am going to let him coach the game. And the reason why I'm going to let him coach the game is because he came in and he wants to finish the job. Even though he's accepted a job at another place, the job is not complete yet. And you do not want to hurt the overall allure that you have going forward. Does it actually cause some controversy to probably have him there and some mixed emotions and some mixed feelings? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's about winning that football game. It's about making sure those guys who are playing for him or playing for Jackson State have whatever it is that they need to be comfortable to win this football game. Remember last year, guys, Jackson State went into that football game and they should have clearly beaten South Carolina State, but South Carolina State was absolutely prepared to come in and win the football game. And so this year, just to have that level of relaxation as a team, as players, I would let Coach Sanders absolutely stay. Let's deal with it from this standpoint as well. There's been many people who have made comments, whether it's social media, whether it's people in Jackson, whether it was people in the stands at the SWAC Championship game. Everybody has an opinion of what should have happened and how Coach Sanders should have handled it. And I'm like Charles. I absolutely believe that the announcement should have been made after the Celebration Bowl, because I think that would have taken a little bit of the sting away from the Jackson fans, understanding that Coach Sanders always had in mind to move forward to a Power 5 school. Who would have ever believed that it would have been Colorado that was going to be the Power 5 school that he was going to actually go to? So it takes away a little bit of the sting from that standpoint. But here's where I'm going to go with it. For all of the people that are upset about him making the moves, here's what we have to start thinking about on the SWAC level, on the FBS level. We can no longer continue to pay people the amounts of money that we pay them and think that we're doing a very good job of actually compensating coaches. Because at the end of the day, whether we want to believe this or not, it really comes down to dollars and cents. And it actually comes down to the second part is that he can make moves for his family, because Shadeur is gone. His daughter's going to be playing for the University of Colorado. He can take an entire coaching staff, 4 coaches from the coaching staff, Coach Thurman being one of those coaches that he's going to take right along with them and offer them something that they can't get on the FBS or the SWAC level. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm just going to talk about it from this standpoint. It doesn't make any sense to me that we're paying coaches in college football on the SWAC level or on the smaller college level almost the same amount of money a high school teacher makes. That just doesn't make good sense whatsoever. Now, I understand that part of it, and it's a part of it if you accept the coaching job. But when you look at Coach Sanders and what he was able to do at Jackson State University in a short amount of time, you have to tip your hat to him. And now that the blueprint has been put out there, who can come in and continue to build on that legacy at Jackson State? Jackson State was already a stoic program. It already had a history. Now with Coach Sanders, it just has a little bit more of a history, and it puts them in a better position to be seen by the public. Who's going to come in now? Is it going to be TC? Are they going to go after somebody outside and bring them in to try to keep this thing going? The world may never know. But as a person who sits back and looks at this, and I've had a myriad of arguments with my wife about this situation, and she's not in favor of Coach Sanders actually making this move. And I just had to make the point. At some point, when do we not get upset about opportunity? Because somebody will say, well, opportunity would have come. What if it would not have come? Where would he be right now? He'd be still doing the same thing that he's doing. And so I'm not mad at him for wanting to advance. I'm not mad at him for wanting to go forward. I'm just upset when people think that you're supposed to move by their time clock and by their schedule. And that's a little bit more frustrating to me when we talk about Coach Sanders.
Well, and I think I was trying to make some notes there when we're talking about payment. Now, I'm going to say this. Let's look at what Coach Sanders is making. Well, let me back up. He's of course you're not going to make as much money on this level like moving up to FBS level. Okay. But in the past, Coach Fobbs, what, 300,000, give or take? At Grambling
Give or
State
take.
University.
Give or take.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's more north of 300,000. Coach Dooley right now, 300,000. A little north of 300,000. Who else am I missing in the past?
Willie Simmons, Florida A&M.
Willie Simmons.
Yeah. Now, guys, we compare that to some of the head coaches at the FC level at the Southland. SWAC is paying their head coaches, in most parts, better than some of the FCS brethren, like in the Southland. Now, I don't know how much if you can, you get all of the FCS conference. But then we also have to talk about resources. Head coaches are making, I would say, decent, Ossie. But then the position coaches, they need to be compensated more. Then you have the defensive and offensive coordinators. I don't think the SWAC is on the lower end of FCS. Talking about Division I. When we talking about Division I coaches, but now resources, facility upgrade, this and that, then yeah, you can do better. We were talking about that 20 years ago, and shamefully, in some places, you're still talking about facilities upgrade. So, and then too, Jackson State, Ashley Robinson. He hired Coach Sanders. And what did that do for Coach Sanders? He finally got some head coaching experience, right? Right? He didn't have it at first, correct?
Absolutely.
And so they helped each other as far as that. But, people can have their opinions. And even if they would announce it, Austin, after Celebration Bowl, and I understand what you're saying, they still would have some people upset. You can still tell. And then some of the things, not what I'm saying, but he had a mission to rise HBCUs out of the ashes. God told him this is where he needs to be. And I think some people are saying, well, my goodness, that means you'll be there till the job
Forever.
is done. Yeah, forever. But
Forever.
you knew, Charles, and I knew that his ultimate goal was to coach at the highest level in college football. So I'm not mad. The SWAC, again, will survive and under the leadership of Dr. McClellan. Now, let's be honest. If Dr. McClellan happens to get a better offer, I think you will see much more of an impact than Coach Sanders leaving. Anybody agree with me on that? Even in the chat room. I really would be worried then. Not that he can't be replaced, but the things that he is doing in the leadership, I would be much more worried. And I just think people are emotional, and everybody can have their opinions. I understand that. But just sit back and you thank Coach Sanders, and then let's move on. Let's move on. We still have issues. You still want to uplift the conference, and I think it will happen.
It will. It will happen. And look, Jackson State's football program is in a lot better shape now than it was 3 years ago. There's no question about that, with the new turf and all the new projects that supposedly are coming online, the new meeting room and all that. So the program aesthetically is in a much better place. Now, as far as that roster is concerned, as far as that coaching staff is concerned, we all know what's going to probably happen. You know, a number of players are going to Colorado. You know, some players are going to hit the portal. You've already reading some of that on social media already. So I think Ashley Robinson's got the biggest challenge of his professional life coming up right here, because Jacksonians are saying, hey, Coach Sanders is gone. We can't go backwards. It was over a decade in between championships. You can't go back. So this hire, you gotta almost nail it. You gotta almost nail it. You're gonna have a new quarterback in there. You're gonna have a new head coach. You're going to have a new defensive coordinator. You're taking 4 coaches that are not going to be there. Maybe a couple more might leave before it's all said and done. Who knows? But this is going to be a really big hire for Ashley Robinson. I know Ashley well. He always likes to make a big splash, whether he was at Valley, whether he's at Prairie View, and Willie Simmons taking him from us. He was offensive coordinator at Alcorn, and he left to go to Prairie View. So this is a big hire for Ashley Robinson. Yes, the SWAC's going to be fine. But for Jackson State, I just think the way he went out, how he went out, and I just think if you're a good coach, regardless if your name is Deion Sanders or Carlos Brown or Ossie Clark, if you're a good coach and you elevate a program, somebody else is coming for you. And yes, you can only pay what you can pay. You know, I don't know if it's true that there was $1 million offer on the table for Coach Sanders to stay at Jackson State. I don't know if that's true or not. But, you know, when you're talking about Colorado, you're talking about paying $5 million a year. You're making 15 times what you're making at Jackson State. There's no way that a HBCU can even come close to matching that. Let's be honest about that. So it's whether or not you feel like you've done all you can do where you are and you go to the next step, which is a lower level Power 5 school in Colorado. They won 1 game last year. So he's riding a horse right now that's wounded. That Buffalo is wounded. So if he can come in there and elevate that program to a 3 or 4 win season next year, and you're reading the reports how season ticket sales are already through the roof. The Pac-12's media rights deal is going to be elevated because of him coming in. I mean, that's what the Pac-12 commissioner is saying. And you saw the video of him at the Colorado basketball game, got the standing ovation, a packed house and all that. Already you're seeing that before he's even coached a game. Now, you know, I don't agree with, you know, the thing that he did when he met his team. Hey, you know, I got my luggage coming. You better hit the portal. That's something I probably would have said privately. I wouldn't have said that for everybody to consume, even though you know when a head coach comes in, a lot of guys going to hit the portal anyway. A lot of guys not going to make it. I wouldn't have been that brutally honest, but that's what Coach Sanders is about. That's who he is. He's not gonna leave anything to chance. He's gonna let you know what's on his mind in real time. So, hey, I'm just one of those that I think we're seeing something different in the league now. I think we're getting a taste of big time FBS football at the SWAC level, where a coach gets a way bigger offer, takes off, leaves, and it could be better timing, but that's just not the reality we're in. If you look at other coaches at the next level, they leave. Some coach the bowl game if they make it, some don't. And I think we're just getting a little bit of a taste of that, and we just have to understand it's all about business. this is what it's all
Yeah.
about. It's about business and taking care of your family. And that's what Coach Sanders is doing. He's worth $40 million according to reports. But like someone posted, he's no different than the rest of us. He still needs a dollar or two as well. So I don't blame him. Congratulations to him. But as a SWAC guy, Carlos, I want to see what Jackson State's going to look like. I want to see what that staff's going to look like. I want to see what that roster's going to look like, because that's going to be one of the 1,000 questions come media day in 7 months. Media day in 7 months is going to be crazy for a whole nother set of reasons. I'm already looking forward to that.
Never a dull moment in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. A lot happening. The 2023 Black College Hall of Fame class is introduced, and this class has some exceptional talent, and we do have a graph for you. So Roy's producing today's show. I'm sure he's going to take care of that and put it up for you. And there you go. Leslie Frazier of Alcorn State, now the defensive coordinator at the Buffalo Bills. Henry Lawrence from FAMU. Elijah Pitts, Philander Smith. Johnny Walton, Elizabeth City State. Tyrone McGriff, FAMU. Jim Marcellus, Tennessee State. Albert Lewis, Grambling State, definitely remember him. And look at there, Coach Pete Richardson, former head football coach at Winston-Salem State and Southern University, inducted into the class of 2023, the Black College Hall of Fame. Guys, that was just some tremendous talent. And, of course, Coach Richardson still involved with the university. They consult with him on certain matters. He's a color analyst, like Ossie, for the Southern University Radio Network. But what an outstanding class. And knowing Coach Pete Richardson personally, when he first came on campus, the story was, and I agree, wow, he looks more like a college professor, guys, than a football coach. But, I mean, set the example right away. And, some of those games, the first game he coached against Northwestern State in the Superdome, Southern had their way with Northwestern State. And that first game set the bar. And so now we even see basketball, because that's one of my notes as well. We're seeing big victories out of a conference, but Coach Richardson, part of that 2023 class, just outstanding, and it's great to be recognized by your own, and that's what happened, guys. Great class. Comments?
I totally agree. I mean, Albert Lewis, I remember him, a Gramblinite. Of course, Leslie Frazier, Alcorn's own. I mean, doing a great job with that Buffalo defense, and and Coach Pete Richardson. I mean, the Black College Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame, they get it right. They get a lot of, and there's so much talent out there. There's so many great minds, past and present. And I am so happy for everyone in that class, but the three that I know that I'm very familiar with, I mean, just a great class all the way around.
You're absolutely right. Ossie?
The creme de la creme, when you look at it, you cannot have a Black College Hall of Fame without having Coach Pete Richardson in the Black College Hall of Fame. Here's a guy that came in and did an amazing job with the Southern University program. He's been an amazing coach throughout his career, but his ability to be a head coach and to lead that program through so many great seasons in the SWAC, a couple of national championships underneath his regime as a head coach. He's a guy that if you want to be a coach, you can look up to him, because he was fiery, he was firm, but he also has such a fun-loving personality that guys could galvanize behind. And to have him in the College Football Hall of Fame just tells you that you're right. They get it right. Leslie Frazier, who's doing an amazing job with the Minnesota Vikings, with the Buffalo Bills, was with the Minnesota Viking program for a while. He is just an outstanding football mind, and you see the greatness of what happens and from a black college football player who knows the game, who can translate that game over to other adults and get them to play at such a maximum level, and was an outstanding player within his own right. And you cannot not talk about Albert Lewis. What a tremendous football player he was at Grambling State University. I remember him so well as a youngster growing up and watching him play. And as a matter of fact, I'm about to tell my age. I remember when Albert Lewis was on Super Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo with the Kansas City Chiefs. So that tells you how far back my mind goes back with Albert Lewis. But you're just talking about three of the creme de la creme that are put into the Black College Hall of Fame, and we tip our hats to those guys because they absolutely personify what excellence is at their particular genres as coaches, as players in the Black College Hall of Fame.
And some on that panel, the question is, if I'm not SWAC, who is SWAC? But for some of those on that list,
Deion is not SWAC anymore.
They are SWAC. Yeah. And again, being, it's kind of like, you have different awards. You have the College Football Hall of Fame, but it just means just a bit more when it comes from your own. And you understand what I'm saying. So
it does. Absolutely.
Hats off. Yes, sir. Hats off to that 2023 Black College Hall of Fame inductees. And also, congratulations to all HBCU and college graduates. A lot of that has happened over the last couple of days, and always a special time. And that's a personal thing that you've achieved, a personal goal. That's the way I felt in 2010, graduating from Southern University, and man, it just brings back memory. But that is a personal goal. So congratulations to all the HBCU and college graduates. Also, we're throwing out a lot of congratulations right now. Another congratulations goes to a team that has defeated Colorado. Wow. And then defeats Vanderbilt in the SEC. Who is that? Grambling State men's basketball team. Watch out. Watch out for Grambling State men's basketball team. Between Grambling, Alcorn, Southern Prairie, and Texas Southern, guys, this race is going to be outstanding on the men's side. But they defeat Vanderbilt 64-62 at Vanderbilt. Non-conference wins are crucial. And basketball, they're getting it done. And we're hoping that football will start getting those type of non-conference victory or more of them. But kudos to Grambling State men's basketball team, Charles and Ossie.
Coach Dante Jackson has done. Okay, thank you. Coach Dante Jackson has done an amazing job with the Grambling basketball program over the last couple of years. He has found a way to bring in players that can actually play against anybody. And he's found a way to win big-time college basketball games. I want to say a couple of years ago, if my memory serves me correct, Grambling beat Georgia Tech. If my memory serves me correctly. And so to have two high-profile wins over major programs is just an outstanding job. These young men understand the assignment. Now the question is going to be, if you can win these games and at this particular point in the year, how does that set you up for the conference? Because that's going to be important as the season goes on. Can you build from this, or by some chance do you start losing your momentum? But you tip your hats right now for finding a way to win a game against Vanderbilt, because that's not an easy place to go play. It's not an easy place to go win. And right now, You have to maximize every moment because this leads you through the conference. You can't have any letdowns if you're the Grambling Tigers.
Yeah. I'll say this, and I'm a big advocate of this NCAA play-in game and all that. I'm just going to say this: these wins right now are, and we're not going to, and we don't see it right now, but come March when that committee meets, it's going to help. As long as we keep winning some of these games, it's going to make a difference in terms of seeding, getting out of the play-in. Although I will say some coaches in this league now are more in support of the play-in game instead of being a 16 seed. They would rather go to Dayton and play their way out of it that way as compared to being a 16 taking on one of the top 4 teams in the country. I get it now, but my thought was the travel and logistics and having a short turnaround time. But I get what the coaches are saying. I'm going to say this about Coach Jackson. If you remember a few years, Ossie, and I'm sure you do, Grambling was on probation, the men's basketball program. They could not go to the SWAC tournament. You know what they did? They won the regular season championship. That team had that type of pride and that type of heart and gut and grit and blocked all that other stuff out. Because in SWAC basketball, it's about the regular season and the SWAC tournament, right? For that team not even to be eligible to go to the tournament, to win the regular season, they went to Alabama State A&M the last 2 games to win the regular season, and they did that. The 2 toughest places in the league to win, by the way, the Elmore Gym and the Acadome, and they got it done. That sold me on Coach Jackson right there. And I think quiet as it's kept, a lot of people don't talk about Grambling men's basketball, but Coach Jackson's a really good coach. And they got the pieces that fit his personality, fiery, tough. And I think Grambling's going to be a tough out. We go to Grambling this year, with the new SWAC scheduling, with the addition of the Bethune and FAMU. Some of these teams you only go to once. So Grambling came to us last year. We go to them this year. That's going to be a heck of a matchup when we go to the Hobby Arena. And I think the way Grambling's playing, the way Alcorn's playing, even though Landon Bussey's not happy right now because defensively we sprung a leak. But still, our wins over Stephen F. Austin and Wichita State are still carrying a lot of weight. What Texas Southern is doing, we won the SWAC Pac-12 Challenge. It's still, and what you hope for is that win over Vanderbilt. You hope Vanderbilt gets better to elevate that win even more. That's what you hope for, and you're seeing that early in non-conference, and I think those wins will carry a lot of weight later on. But I think this is going to be a very exciting regular season. So many good teams, a new gym at A&M.
I agree.
Alabama State, a new coach. We're the defending regular season champs. I think Southern's got a lot to prove. I think this is a big year for Coach Woods. I think ETN, one of the biggest transfers in the league, going to Southern from Texas Southern. I think that'll help that team. So I think it's going to be a really, really fun year in SWAC basketball in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to that. But congratulations to Grambling. Job well done. And let's continue to win some of these big non-conference games. We got a big one here. I'm in Carbondale, Illinois, Southern Illinois University. Carbondale, a really good team, really tough place to play and win. And if we can get this one tonight, that will help elevate our profile along with the wins over Stephen F. and Wichita State.
Yeah, throughout the conference, quality non-conference wins so far in non-conference. I agree. It definitely will help. Ossie, I know you have to leave us there. I know you have something else to take care of. We appreciate the time. As always, your perspective, your opinion on some of the interesting hot topics in college athletics. You can leave us with a closing comment if you care to do so, sir.
Carlos, thank you again. Charles, always great to be around you guys. You continue to do an amazing job with the program that you have, and just letting us come on and be with you. Here's a closing comment that I would have for all of us. Let's learn as a people to celebrate one another's advancements. No matter how they come, let's learn to celebrate the advancements. I've learned from this standpoint. I heard Pastor E. Dewey Smith say something a while ago, and then I'm out of here, guys. If I stay small enough, long enough, he'll make me big enough soon enough. And that's what I'll leave
All right
everybody.
now. I love that. I'm gonna have to remember that. And yeah, once again, on social media, let's just cool it down a bit. You wish Coach Sanders the best. You wish Jackson State, because at the end of the day, as much and people who know me know, I've talked about the rivalry. Grambling State is more like a family.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson State, it is really intense. I'll use it that way. I've used other adjectives, but I'm going to use intense. But at the end of the day, we are one HBCU family. And it's all right to agree to disagree. That happens. We can look at our families, and that happens, But at the end of the day, we've got to be like this.
Yes.
And so with that being said, appreciate it, Ossie. We'll talk again real soon.
Yes, sir. Love you guys. Take care and have a great rest of the week.
All righty. We're going to take a timeout. When I come back, we'll talk with Willa Brown, Charles, one of your favorite persons. Get his opinion. I'm trying to get everybody's opinion on the hot topics. And then I'll just add mine in just a little bit as well. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Nope, not going in. Not gonna drown today.
Fixing your credit score can be scary, but with Credit Versio, we take the fear out of it.
Okay, you can do this. Be brave. Don't cry again. Hey, this isn't too bad.
Credit Versio helps dispute negative marks on your credit using our state-of-the-art technology that guides you every step of the way. It's never been easier to fix your credit and increase your credit score. Seriously, you can do this. Visit creditversio.com right now to get started.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Boy, I tell you, during the break is always some interesting conversation going on. But next guest on today's show, Willa Brown. I consider a friend, and I think about all the discussions we used to have at SWAC Media Day. Sometimes I was wrong, sometimes I was right, but it was just a conversation. He is now interim AD at Fort Valley State. And Willa, good afternoon. How you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, Carlos. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How's everything going?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Going well. It seems like you're in your office there, right, Willa?
Yeah. We just finished fall commencement this morning. I, heard you talking about that earlier. It's that time of the year, and we had about maybe 15 athletes that graduated today. So, I had to make sure that I was here, and they saw my face, that sort of thing, congratulating them and their parents, on a job well done, and it's that time of the year.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Congratulations to all, as I said earlier, congratulations to all HBCU and college graduates. Will, a lot of things going on. Now, I'm not necessarily having you here as from an AD perspective, but you are an AD. That's no doubt about that. But just your kind of perspectives. Jackson State, of course, you were there before. They win the 2022 SWAC football championships. Of course, Coach Sanders now moving on. That's a big topic. 2023 Black College Hall of Fame class introduced. But the SIAC, we were talking about that during the break. Now going away from divisions, and now the best 2 teams will participate for the SIAC championship. And so I think we have Roy's mic muted. He's producing today's show. He's a FAMU graduate. And a lot of that talk is kind of going on about, will other conferences follow, getting away with divisions? I believe the ACC, etc., are going away from it. From the SIAC's perspective, how is that advantageous to do that for the SIAC?
Well, I don't know if you kind of probably would have thought if that would have happened this year, it probably would have been Fort Valley State and Benedict in the championship game, as opposed to Tuskegee. But all we had to do was take care of our business on the front end, and so you can't complain about that. My major complaint, Carlos, if I have one, is the NCAA Division II playoffs. I don't know if you guys probably, because you are involved on the FCS level, but we were ranked 7 out of the 7. They only picked 7 teams out of the region, and we were ranked 7th the week before the final rankings came out. And our season had ended. The SIAC championship game had it was about to be concluded, and Benedict won, that sort of thing, and so we all knew that Benedict was probably going to get the number 1 seed. But here we are in the 7th slot, the last slot, 8-2 record, pretty good strength of schedule, that sort of thing. We had beaten Tuskegee and a few other folks along the way, and so we thought that there was a great possibility that we would get a slot in terms of the D2 playoffs. And but come to find out, at the end of the day, Wingate leaped over us, who wasn't even in the rankings the week before, and Fayetteville State, who had won the CIAA. I'm thinking they were ranked like maybe 10th the week before, and they leaped over us, and so we were pretty much knocked out of the picture in terms of a Division II playoff berth. And so, I'm trying to figure out now exactly what the shortcoming is. My thought is that, seeing the SIAC, normally we only play 10 games because you have the championship game and everybody sets aside that slot just in case they're going to make it to the championship game. So everybody in the SIAC plays 10 games. Everybody in the CIAA plays 10 games. They're in the same boat. And but the teams that jumped over us played 11. So my thinking is that, Fayetteville State, their 11th game was the CIAA championship game. So they wound up being 9-2. Okay, my record's 8-2. I don't know who Wingate played, but their record was pretty much like 8-3 or 9-2, something like that. But bottom line, at the end of the day, I think not having that 11th game hurt us. And so, my charge to the SIAC office is, how do we rectify that? Those 2 schools that are not in the championship game, but you're right on the cusp of the possibility of getting a playoff berth. How do you help those schools get over the hump? I wanted to play Virginia Union during that open week, that same week that the SIAC championship game was in. I wanted to play Virginia Union in Charlotte. Naturally, Union didn't want to play. They were ranked like 4th in the region at the time. And, I don't blame them. I just threw it out there just to see if they would bite on it. But, so, it didn't hurt them. They were 9-1 or what have you. They'd only lost 1 game. But, it's hard trying to find an opponent at that last minute, so that you can try to get that 11th game in. Plus, historically, the conference didn't want you to interfere with the conference championship game. So that Saturday pretty much relegated for conference championship Saturday. They want the support of all the schools, not just the support of the 2 schools that are playing. So naturally they're going to frown on you if you, play a game outside of that championship Saturday. So, we got to find a way to be able to play the game that everybody else plays, especially, if we're going to try to get into the playoffs on a regular basis. So that's my biggest beef in terms of, what's going on conference wise. And so we gotta find an answer to it somehow. Because you can't go into the next to the last week, in a playoff position, not play, so your schedule, your record is still the same, your strength of schedule is still the same, everything is still the same, but then teams leapfrog over you, at the last minute. And I know how it works because I was on the FCS committee for a while when I was at A&T. And you know how you have the phone call before the phone call, where representatives from the other conferences will call you and say, well, Will, what's going on with, Hampton in your conference? See, they got a pretty good record, that sort of thing. And, if you vote for my school at number 5, I'll vote for a school in your conference at number 7, that sort of thing. And this is all happening before the conference call takes place. So I'm like, if you guys are calling me, how many other people you calling after me or have called before you called me? So I know how that game is played, from that point of view. But somehow we gotta find a way to kind of level that particular playing field so that we get adequate representation. Then Fayetteville State got trounced by somebody, and Virginia Union got trounced by somebody, and Benedict had the week off because they had the first round bye. Then they lost like that next week at home, and so we once we get there, we gotta win. We gotta win. That's the only way that you're gonna get the respect necessary in order to be players year in and year out. So that's the major challenge for us, Carlos.
I understand. Have you had continuous dialogue with the conference office, or some feedback to maybe to to help out with this
Well,
situation? Because tell me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you really need to consistently have 11 games, or that's not going to happen
well,
as
I
far as the
mean,
conference
right
wise.
now, what is being proposed, what I have proposed, is that those teams that are on the cusp of trying to get into the playoffs,
Hmm.
maybe play that 11th game on Friday night before the SIAC championship game. Play it on that Friday
Hmm.
night as opposed to that Saturday. Somehow just be able to get it in. If you don't want the teams other than the championship teams playing on Saturday, then I mean at least provide an avenue for them to play on Friday night. Even if you play it at the site of the SIAC championship, have a game on Friday night. If I'm right there in the rankings or Tuskegee or whomever, that sort of thing, and we know that we're probably going to need that 11th game in order to get over the hump. Then let's play on that Friday night. In championship game that Saturday. It may help with attendance on Saturday. You never know. So it's some things that are being, bandied about, that sort of thing. And so, we'll see. But you know how our schools are, Carlos. We move at a snail's pace.
Hmm.
So hopefully before the summer we'll have some kind of clue in terms of direction.
Wow, that's interesting. We're visiting with Wheeler Brown, interim AD at Fort Valley State. Keep me abreast of that situation, because I did see it cross the wire about getting away from divisions, and you know even on social media, some people are saying maybe the SWAC should consider that, and I want to say in my group text message, I want to say Dr. Cavill said that's coming up for discussion in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I hope I'm not in error with that, but if it wasn't Dr. Cavill, I apologize. But um, on social media, once again, they kind of want to see that happen, and some other conferences have decided to do that as well. So, in other words, your two best teams will play in the championship. And in the SWAC case, that would have been Jackson State and FAMU. However, FAMU just if they could take care of business on the eastern side, they would have been in the
Mm-hmm.
championship. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it's up for discussion. Charles, you seem like you have a comment or two about this situation that Wheeler was talking about.
Yeah, sounds like it's political. It's I mean, if calls are being made before the vote,
It's
it's like
always
you
Charles.
scratch my back, wink,
Always.
wink. I
You're
scratch
right.
your back, wink, wink.
Always.
That's kind of the I did. Hey, I mean, we know politics is always out there in every situation, and so I'm not totally surprised. But just for you sharing the stories in terms of how that happens, how you get the phone calls, you hadn't called anybody. You're getting the calls and getting
Mm-hmm.
information, and you want a handout just like they want a handout. It's just that's just intriguing and amazing. Well, not amazing, but it's just intriguing to me how all that unfolds, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it, even you talk about the NCAA basketball committee and these other things, these other situations. I'm sure some of that's going on too. I mean, you would have to
Mm-hmm.
believe that some of that's happening as well.
It is. It is.
You need a lobbyist almost. You got to politic. You gotta
Well,
try
I
to make
think Carlos, the
some
onus, the
concessions.
issue becomes uh, who is lobbying on your behalf. So if it's my rival, like if the coaching key is on a committee, you see what I'm saying? He ain't
Oh,
necessarily gonna fight for me. He gonna try to fight for Tuskegee, even though they may not have a chance.
priority
So
number
you
one, I
gotta have
guess.
somebody that's gonna be, I ain't gonna say neutral, but somebody that's gonna fight for the conference and not just for their particular school.
I hear you loud and clear. I know in politics, that's why they a lobbyist sometimes is a dirty word, as far but they're out there and they're on the behalf of trying to get things done for the person who hasn't they have a
Hmm.
deal with. I put it that way. With that being said, okay, Wheeler, some interesting things going on elsewhere in HBCU athletic land. Your thoughts on Coach Sanders? I know you've seen all of the uproar. He's moving on. Where do you stand on that, just from your perspective? I'm interested to see where you're going to go with this.
Well, I think this. Here's where I am, Carlos. Okay,
Yes, sir.
if he had not come in stating that God sent me here to save the world in terms of
Hmm.
HBCU football, that sort of thing. I'm the savior. I'm this. I'm that. And all the hubbub that went with that. If he had not come in like that, if he just come in grateful for the job, la di da, so forth and so on, build it up, get everybody, keep everybody excited, things of that nature, and then if it's time for him to go after a few years, I don't think anybody would have begrudged him. But when
Hmm.
you set yourself up to be the savior of all things black college football, I'm SWAC and, everything else that kind of goes with that, then you opened yourself up when you jumped on the first train smoking. And that to me is the major issue that I have. Not
Hmm.
hating on prime time or anything such as that. Not begrudging a man for taking care of his family and wanting to maximize dollars and things of that nature. But I will say this, okay? You cut the line in the beginning to get the job because there were a whole lot of coaches out there that had paid
Hmm.
their dues, that have been coaching for years and years, looking for an opportunity to become a head coach, either at HBCU or just a head coach, period. Okay? You came in, 2 years of high school coaching experience, you jumped to the front of the line, you got the job because of who you are, that sort of thing. So you jumped the line, okay? now, okay, and you profess yourself to be the savior of us all. Okay, came in, did a good job, that sort of thing, everything else that goes with that. And now the first job that's paying a lot better, and it's definitely an upgrade. There's no doubt about that at the end of the day. You jump and you leave. And then you say that I'm doing it for all black coaches, so I can help my fellow black coaches aspire and move up, that sort of thing. Now, but your two coordinators that you just hired are white guys. So tell me who you're uplifting. And we know that in order to get a head coaching job, on that level, a lot of times you are elevated from the coordinator's position. Now you're telling me you're about uplifting black coaches, that sort of thing. Okay, why weren't your two coordinators now that you have just hired at Colorado? Why weren't they black coaches? Why are they white coaches? Why are the black guys that you're hiring are position coaches, analysts? I still don't know what that means. Things just things of that nature. So don't sell yourself to be the Messiah, when you're only out for yourself. And it's okay if you're out for yourself. Just go ahead and put it out
Say that
there
up front.
and keep it moving from there. Talking about Jackson State like a dog now, saying folks stealing money and all that sort of thing. And, Carlos, I was there for a few years. I can tell you, ain't no money to be stolen. So, you forget about that. And Veteran Stadium don't hold 60,000. Forget about that. It don't hold 50. Matter of fact, it holds 42 and some change.
Wow.
And I know because I had Ticketmaster to come in and reconfigure everything using today's measurements. When Veteran Stadium was built, the size of the seats, the butts, was like 17 inches.
Oh,
okay?
my.
And that made a seat, 17 inches. So where the 50,000 plus came from was based off of 17 inches. Well, now I don't know anybody, well, at least not me anyway, in terms of 17 inches. You forget about that part. But Ticketmaster is saying that the average
we're blessed.
now is like 22, 23 inches. So they went back through the whole stadium for us and reconfigured what the capacity is using today's standards. And like I said, it came to like 43,400, that sort of thing. So, that's the capacity of the stadium. And you guys know, Charles, especially you, how many tickets we give away on average.
A lot.
You got,
I know. I know about that. Yeah.
The bands don't buy tickets, and that's about 500-600 people on average when you look at both schools' bands. Okay, you set aside 4 tickets per player in accordance with NCAA rules. Okay, so you're talking about 80 players, 85 players times 4 for one team, and then the same thing for the opposing team. I mean, come on now, so you can see the stands being full, but we know everybody ain't paid, and then, your sponsorship tickets and, everything else that goes along with that. So I can see where Jackson State has probably told him that, well, we only sold 28,000, 28,000 paid tickets, even though it's standing room only in here. That's definitely feasible. There's no doubt about that at all. So nobody's stealing any money, Carlos. And we all know, well, I know, let me put it like this. I know, that, at Jackson State, the ticket revenue is budgeted for. Ticket revenue goes right back into the athletic budget. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when I was there, okay, concessions goes to auxiliary services. Okay? And your parking and tailgating revenue goes to the stadium budget. And I'm sure that hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, you know, if you're thinking it's a big windfall there, even though you see a lot of folk there, it's not. You know, so all this about, you know, they're stealing from me, all this sort of thing, it's, I mean, come on now. It ain't real. It ain't real. So, you know, like I said, you know, and if it's me, Carlos, it's just me talking, I would not allow him to coach the Celebration Bowl. When you decided and you made that announcement that you were going to Colorado, okay, to me, it was time to cut ties right then. You know, thank you for your service, Coach Prime, and, you know, you did a wonderful job for us, and, you know, have your stuff out by the next day, and, you know, let me find an interim, you know, and I think T.C. Taylor would do a good job for them, but that's just my personal opinion. And, you know, but with Ashley Robinson, I just think right now he's probably conflicted because he's trying to figure out whether or not he wants to make that splash higher again or try, you know, or bring this thing back to normal and let's get back to business as normal. So I think he's kind of torn with that. But if it's me, I'm going back to normal. You know, no doubt about that. You know, T.C. Taylor, I think he's got a good rapport with a lot of the kids. I think he could stop the bleeding in terms of a lot of kids going into the transfer portal, that sort of thing and stuff. And, you know, and I think the continuity, I think will be satisfied, you know, if you get like him right there and give him a shot. You know, even if you make him interim for the next year, you know, and see how he does, that sort of thing. You know, you're giving another guy hope. Okay, you're not cutting the line again. You know, somebody who has, you know, worked hard to put himself in that position, that sort of thing. And like I said, you're bringing things back to normal. So, just my thoughts.
Wheeler,
Guys,
I have a quick question. Oh, go ahead.
No, let me take a quick break, and Charles, hold that point, and we'll come back. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
This is Brian Fulford. A.B. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
T. Madden & Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, We can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Welcome back to the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Wheeler, we got about 5 more minutes left, but actually we'll get you back. But something you said, and I that was my stance pretty much. I'm always looking out for the assistant coaches who need the opportunity to become a head coach. And I understand, some ADs, they will make the decision, all universities, to go now with the name recognition. But I agree with you. There are so many coaches looking for that opportunity. And as you stated, they've went through the process. They've done everything they're supposed to do, and you can't get an opportunity. Do you think the name recognition hires now will be what we'll see more of it, or will we go back to, as you stated, normalcy, the normal hiring of athletic coaches?
Unfortunately, I think you're going to see more of it, at least in the short time anyway. You got Trent Dilfer being hired at Alabama Birmingham. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and the list pretty much goes on and on. So it just seems like they've started a trend there that it's going to be hard to break, and it's going to take a minute or two for that to break. You still got some old school guys, I guess, like myself, who you know probably would not lean towards that particular trend. When our position was open before we hired Coach Gibbs, I mean, Tyrone Poole, he's a Fort Valley graduate, that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing, and Super Bowl champion with the Patriots and all that sort of thing. You would not believe how our phone rang off the hook, in terms of, well, why don't y'all give him a shot, that sort of thing. So I think it's still going to happen, for the most part. But I mean, history is showing you that this is a one-trick pony. You look at Eddie
Mm-hmm.
George at Tennessee State. You even look at like Hugh Jackson at Grambling. And the list goes on and on. All these big splash type hires haven't really worked out well. And but I think it's going to be around for a little while longer.
Yeah, I understand. Um, I think that's about it. I mean, it could go some other situations, but I'm intrigued by your perspective and piece on what has been going on. I tell you what, we'll get you back real soon. I missed the conversations we had at SWAC Media Day. We agreed sometimes, we disagreed, but it was all entertaining, and I enjoyed the
Definitely,
conversation.
definitely.
And the college landscape is changing. It's always evolving, and within the HBCU realm, it's no different. Trends,
Mm-hmm.
athletic resources, facilities upgrade, all of that. I tell people a lot of times it's on record. Southern is on record of having what they would like to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of fact of just trying to get it done. But we got to have the alums. I guess it's going to take multifaceted solutions because there's multifaceted problems, and one
Mm-hmm.
solution cannot rescue us. It's going to be from a multiple standpoint. In your closing
And
comments,
that's
Willa.
what that's what I've been telling folks here, Carlos. You know,
Hmm.
one entity is not going to get it done. You know, if you think your alums are going to somehow magically start giving at a 50% rate when they've only been given historically at a 9 or 10% rate, it's not going to happen. You know, so the institution is going to have to increase their support. The alums are going to have to increase their support. You know, we got to turn it up a notch in terms of sponsorships and things of that nature. Everybody's got to work in conjunction with each other in order for this thing to happen. But if we're sitting around just waiting on one entity to do it all, we're gonna stay in the same spot where we are. We're not gonna progress much at all.
And you know, it sounds like you're saying collectively we have to do it all, and we can't just wait. You just can't wait on the Messiah or Savior.
Mm-mm.
We all are have the potential to be saviors.
Hmm.
I'll close on that. Willer, appreciate the time. Let's talk again real soon on the show.
Definitely, no doubt. Appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you. That was Willa Brown, interim director of athletics, Charles, at Fort Valley State. Having a discussion with some close people the other day. Yeah, a lot of times as a people, we wait on a one person, a savior, a Messiah. When in essence, we all got to chip in. I can do better. You can do better. We all can do better. And if we agree to disagree on some items, it's okay. It really
Yeah.
is. But yeah, but it's a multifaceted. It's going to be multifaceted solutions to handle multifaceted problems.
Yep, that's the case. Everybody has to give more administrative support, more state support. I mean, you look at Southern University. I mean, I don't know where things stand with you guys down there with the big bond issue and the state money that's coming in. Roman Banks talked about that in terms of improvements for athletic facilities down there at Southern University, increased state funding. So I think all of that has to increase. But I do think that, if you talk to a lot of our alums, a lot of people are saying we're giving as much as they can give at this point in time. And so you have to kind of respect that as well. I mean, we can all give more, but how far do you push to get more? And so I think you just have to take what's given and just try to use that and manage that as best as you can. And I think with Coach Sanders, one thing he did do, I mean, he knew people, he knew sponsors, and he was able to do that. I think that's part of the reason why, in part, a small reason why he was hired. I mean, he got Walmart to do some stuff, some other entities to do some stuff, and that's kind of what you're looking for. If you know people that know big people that can give a lot of money to help where you need to go and do what you need to do, that's helpful as well. So if you can make that big splash and get other people to come on board, then that helps in terms of not as much university resources. You got your own resources to do that. So, I agree with Wheeler. I've said it, Carlos. I think the celebrity big splash hire like that's going to be the trend going forward until it fails. If it fails 2 or 3 times, then I think we have administrations back off of it. But Coach Sanders was a success. We'll see what Hugh Jackson brings. It's still early yet. It's still year 1 done with that. Eddie George is still early yet. Let's have this conversation in 12 months and see where that lands. If year 2, if things still go south, then, we can have even a deeper discussion about it. But Coach Sanders, clearly what he did, what he's done, that's what people are looking at, because we're in a copycat society. You got other coaches out there, Ed Reed, you got these, I mean, it's just other names that are out there. That's not going away, Carlos. Just be ready for it. Just, Ray Lewis, just be ready for it. Those names are still
Oh my
out there.
goodness.
Those names are percolating. Yes. I mean, I hate to see it too. I hate to hear it too, but that's just the brutal reality of where we are right now. And with the openings that we have in this conference, hey, Ashley Robinson has a big decision to make because the Jacksonians are saying privately and publicly, we can't go backwards. We've had too long of a drought. We can't go back. We can't go backwards. I think T.C. Taylor will be a good hire, but there are some people who feel otherwise. We'll see.
Well, once again, it'll be different if you didn't have any success. Wouldn't you agree? Jackson State had success before Coach Sanders, albeit they had some downtimes, but for the most part, W.C. Gordon's, Coach Commingy. So it's different if you have never had success. You know what success is. And I think some of the Jacksonians have been making that point on social media. Hey, we'll just keep the train going. You know, we've had success, but it's going to be interesting. I understand it. I'll be in the minority on this, I'm sure. Yes,
you want continued success.
But I believe they will have continued success. And yeah, the trend is now the big name hires. But we only seen it in one case where it was quick gratification. And that's with Jackson State. The jury's still out on all the other ones. The names you mentioned. Hugh Jackson, Eddie George. So it'll be okay as we kind of move off of that topic, waiting for my last guest, Larry Harrell, to join us. But there's some other news. Cactus Jack Baseball Classic, and we'll put up that graphic for you. That's going to start in February. The foundation is putting together those series of baseball games, and you got some collegiate baseball teams in the SWAC that are going to be participating in that. Looking forward to see how successful this is going to be, Charles. You got Grambling State. You're going to have Prairie View, Texas Southern, Mississippi Valley State participating in this classic in February 2023.
We're seeing more of these classics in February, more of these tournaments, mini tournaments, if you will, than we've ever seen. You know, it was just the Major League MLB Urban Invitational New Orleans, and now you got another Urban Invitational in Florida. Now you have this. So you're seeing a lot of February baseball involving SWAC teams. And I'm sure if you talk to all those coaches, Omar Johnson and others, they would love that because it gives you a HBCU, a SWAC feel in February. Because, I mean, let's be real about it. We don't really get into SWAC baseball until the weather warms up. I mean, you know, I'm out there in February in gloves and skull cap, and we're doing, you know, baseball. But people don't really follow it like that until you get beyond March Madness. So this is some good baseball right off the bat. Get a chance to kind of see where you are right off the bat against other quality SWAC teams. I mean, Grambling came up short. Jackson's always been there. Southern, you know, Texas Southern, you know, Coach Rob's always going to have his team ready. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that transpires. Let's hope we get a good turnout to where a classic like that continues, where you get other teams involved as you rotate some of those teams perhaps. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah, the future will be bright. Different baseball classics now as part of trying to get more young kids, high school baseball players in to the collegiate level. Let me take another quick break, and when I come back, we're scheduled to join Larry Harrell here on the Coles Brown Show. You're watching the Coles Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Welcome back to the Coach Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. In our last segment, our final guest, Larry Harrell. I should say Coach Harrell, a former Southern University football player. And good afternoon, Coach. Welcome to the Coach Brown Show again.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me back, Carlos.
Oh, no problem. It won't be the last time. Your collegiate coach, Coach Pete Richardson, in the 2023 Black College Hall of Fame. He was announced to be in this class. Kind of give us some thoughts on what this honor for Coach Richardson means. And then, of course, you played for him. Your thoughts on just a great accomplishment and a great career.
Yes, sir. I, have all the honor and praise for Coach Richardson, man. I said it before last time, he's almost like a second father to many of us. A lot of people don't realize, you just look at the football piece, but man, when it comes to coaching, man, being a coach myself, you get so many times where kids come back and they don't talk about past games or anything. They talk about the impact you had on their lives. Now I'm a husband, I'm a father. I'm in my career, and a lot of things that I learned from him, I learned from Coach. It helped me as a man, not just on the field. So he deserves it, man. He was a great, great man, and I really think he was ahead of his time, Carlos. He did some stuff that was outside of the box as far as practices. As far as exposure and things like that. I just heard y'all's spirited debate about Coach Prime, but I mean, we've had this celebrity because we had, during that time, Coach Doug Williams that came along at the end of my career, and kind of raised awareness to Grambling and so like I said, Coach Richardson was really, really ahead of his time. Really, I think he's become the dean of the SWAC. But like I say, his off-field. What he did for us as players, man, can't even be measured.
Coach, we look at Coach Richardson, and for most people, even me, he's always a guy that's measured with his comments, strictly by the business. How do you think Coach Richardson feels about this being inducted into the 2023 Black College Hall of Fame? Will he still be the same way, kind of like, okay, congratulations, but how do you think he's feeling right now?
So I think just on a personal, I think kind of bittersweet. I know he would have loved, his wife to be there for this. Obviously, we lost her a couple of years ago. And the one thing, that's why I say the family aspect. We went on the road, Carlos. We didn't get on the planes or whatever. I think we only took one plane at the Circle City Classic. Ms. Richardson was right there, like sitting right in the front. And that's something that always sticks out to me. Like, he kept his wife around us, around the program, and it just showed us again, how to treat a lady, and they were just so humble. They weren't braggadocious. They weren't, you know what I'm saying? look at me. Like Coach Rich is a real humble guy, man. Now behind closed doors, with just us, I think he was like Franklin D. Roosevelt with the walk softly but carry a big stick. Because now Coach can turn up. We get behind them closed doors. He would let us know what he really felt. But in the media stuff, man, he's just a classy individual. Carried himself with class. Represented not only the SWAC but Black college football and Southern University. At the highest level. And I just think being a humble guy that he is, he'll be gratified and satisfied. But he gonna thank everybody. From the administration to the players and everybody. He's not going to take the praise to himself, his former coaches and stuff. So that's just the humble guy that he is. But like I say, man, coach is awesome, man. I haven't seen him in a while, but I heard, he's been around. I really got to get back to Baton Rouge so I can see him and shake a hand and just be able to tell him, the wonderful things he did for my life as a coach. He inspired me to want to be a coach myself.
And that's where I was going next with his influence. It sounds like he had a lot of influence that you got into um, uh, coaching football. And how did your team do this past year?
So here in Georgia, we have 7 classifications. We play in not only the highest classification, play in the toughest region. I say in America. We play in a region with I think they was top 5 this year in the nation. Buford. I don't know if you ever heard of them. The team that's
Yes,
playing in the
I've
state
heard of them.
championship. Yeah. So the monster that they are. Playing in the state championship today is a team that actually finished second to Buford, Mill Creek. They're playing state championship. The champion from last year, which had Travis Hunter, which went to Jackson State, Collins Hill. They're in that same region, along with Decula Mountain View. So we started out hot, Carlos. This team that I took over was 1-9 the past 2 seasons. We started out 5-0, best start since 1980, I believe. And then we got in region, and it kind of shows that we got to go to work. We 0-5, but we were in every game. Our kids battled. I'm really getting excited about the off season, being able to have our first off season, so we can get back there and show what we have. But like I say, man, we still do a lot of the same stuff that I learned from Coach Orlando. Uh, Terminology and everything. Still take a lot of those principles and things like that. And like I say, it's good to be here in Georgia, good in the metro area. And we just got a lot of upside going for us. And we're excited, to get back in 23 to show what we can really do.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. We're right up at the end of the show, but I just kind of want you to come on and give us a perspective on Coach Richardson, inducted into the 2023 Black College Hall of Fame class.
Yes,
And
sir.
I appreciate the time. We will be in touch. We will have you back on
Yes, sir.
real soon, because I got to find out more about high school football in the state of Georgia.
Georgia,
Correct?
yeah, I like to say we right up there with Texas stuff, and as far as exposure and doing our championship. I know LHSA is doing theirs, but ours on national TV, so you can catch all the games and stuff. So they do a good job here, Carlos. And like I said, we gotta get you up to a game or something. But you'd really enjoy it, man. You really enjoy it.
Well, I would love to do that. Tell your lovely family, wife, and children hello and greetings from Louisiana, and we'll get you back on real soon, because we got to talk Southern University football and get
Yeah.
your thoughts on Coach Doolin and this past football season. But man, have a blessed rest of your weekend, and we'll talk again real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day too.
All right, thank you. That was Larry Harrell, former Southern University football player, just giving us a few comments on Coach Pete Richardson, inducted into the 2023 Black College Hall of Fame. JSU, the 2022 SWAC football champions, Charles, they're going to the Celebration Bowl. An early prediction?
Jackson State.
I got to pull for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Yeah.
I had a blank there for a minute. I mean, when it's not all corn or Grambling, I'm pulling for the SWAC. So we've only won one Celebration Bowl. I think this could be the year. I mean, look, Jackson proved me wrong. All the distractions, all the noise, they just blocked that out and play. Even though Southern spotted them, Southern helped them. There's no question about that last week. But Jackson looked focused, looked ready. The defense is tough. So I'm going with Jackson. Let's try to bring home the second win in the Celebration Bowl.
Well, I'm not happy that Southern outscored Jackson State 24-17 when Bubba McDaniels got in the game. I'm happy, but then I'm not. Southern, 412 yards of total offense, 439 for Jackson State. I guess it's frustrating when you see the pieces there and the talent. By the way, the Dog Day defense nationally ranked in several categories. You just got to get that O-line replenished and that D-line and the trigger man. I'm reading some of the comments in the chat room. Get that solved. You believe Southern will be there. Will FAMU now. I think they're the early on favorite. I know it's early to be heard from in the 2023 football season. Also, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Broderick Moore, Tyron Williams, and Darlin Young, 3 Human Jukebox band members and students at Southern University tragically lost their lives of this past week. Grambling State, kudos, thumbs up. They defeated Vanderbilt on the road of the SEC 64-62. Also, Coach Sanders, going to be a lot of talk continuously about that. Moving on to his next assignment, the University of Colorado. Coach Dancy, Mississippi Valley State, going with him. Assistant coaches from Jackson State. Next week, we'll talk more about the transfer portal. It is loaded. Every team in this conference has lost players, including Southern University, to the transfer portal. But guess what? They're also extending plenty of offers. December 21st is the signing day to sign on new student athletes. So we'll see. Want to thank all of our guests. Roy, producer of today's show. We definitely got to get out of here. For those in the chat room, continue the conversation. Appreciate you tuning in. Until next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Until that time, peace and God bless. And remember, together we are one. Have a great weekend, folks.